Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and obviously we have seen a bunch of units, specifically vehicles, coming over from the Horus Heresy Forgeworld range into the Horus Heresy / 40k Plastic Games Workshop range, which is obviously a great and welcome improvement, not only for the price but the quality of the kits as well, as I am not a fan of resin at all. So somewhere along the way we saw pictures and heard about this, but didn't see this article, so just kind of going back and rehashing what we kind of glossed over. So tackle anything the Age of Darkness throws at you with the versatile new Predator. What do you get when you cross the versatility of a Contemptor Dreadnought, the armor of a Leviathan Dreadnought, and the tracks of a vehicle that thinks walking everywhere sounds exhaustion? The Legion's iconic mobile everything killer, that's what. The Deimos pattern Predator battle tank is as Space Marine as power armor and bolt guns. And now a new plastic kit is coming to Warhammer, and the Horus Heresy just laden with firepower. So let's take a look at this thing right here. Not sure how much they'll actually show off in the video, but I imagine we'll get some cool angles and everything. So a very nice looking tank aesthetic wise overall. The kit looks phenomenal. I like the way the Deimos pattern Rhino looks, but not as much the Predator. I don't mind the kind of like circular Sponson mounts as opposed to the traditional like newer style. I think those look cool. I think the top turret is just kind of meh for me, but I like the Kratos a lot too. So it's not the overall like round aesthetic. There's just something about it. It's cool, but maybe I just like the newer style better. I think that's probably what it is. So we see they're showing off obviously a ton of different options there. Although not as fast as the Sicaran, that's the one I'm really excited about. The Predator is a reliable every tank for the Legion on the go. Instead of a complicated custom chassis, it's built on the shoulders of the Deimos pattern Rhino, providing armies with a dependable armored fighting vehicle that can easily be modified and repaired as necessary. So here we see with the Predator autocannon and heavy bolter sponsons, and then little ram. Again, nice looking kit overall. Pretty cool. Its ease of maintenance makes it an ideal platform for many different kinds of weapons, be they tank hunting Lascannons or infantry scorching Volkite macro seekers, as sponsons and turrets can be swapped to suit an army's needs. And with the smoke launchers fitted as standard for extra survivability, the Predator is also a cost-effective unit that plugs any holes in your army capabilities better than almost anything else. This manifests as a kit containing 4 powerful turret weapons and 4 sponson options, including heavy flamers, Volkite Culverins, and the terrain warping Graviton Cannon. Plus, with a cut price points cost and the ability to take Predators in squadrons of up to 4, you can flood the battlefield with enough armor to make Perturabo blush. So that is interesting. A price cut for points, and then also squadrons of up to 4. Now I'm assuming that's for Heresy. But pretty cool. Squadrons of 4. As were previously, at least for 40k, you'd be a maximum of 3 Predators you could ever take. So kind of like not worrying about the rule of 3. Now again, I don't know if that transfers over to 40k or anything. I'm assuming not. So here we see the weapon combinations. So obviously Volkite on the top. So you could basically have the big Volkite cannon and then the Culverins on the side. They have the twin Lascannon on top and then single Las on the sides. And then we have that Graviton Cannon and the flamers on the sides. Add a tank or 4 to your Legion with the Predator comes to pre-orders in the near future, and stay tuned for more reveals. The Warhammer Horus Heresy. So no date yet on this. And this article is a couple weeks old. Again, I just kind of missed it somehow. But I just randomly was thinking, man, I can't believe we didn't hear more about the Predator. And then just kind of look back at it. So I think this thing looks great. Overall, very cool. Anytime we see anything coming from forgeworld into the Plastic Games Workshop line, that is amazing. That is honestly amazing, because we see the price cuts are roughly 50%. Not quite, but if you take like the Leviathan Dreadnought, it is essentially like half price, just shy of that. So it's not quite 50% savings. So assuming the Predator is going to be around the same as well, we know what like the standard Predator kit is. So I'm expecting this right around like that $80 price point, just because that seems like the kind of sweet spot for Games Workshop and these new kind of standard releases, Forge World to plastic, which again I think is, it's not amazing, but compared to Forge World, it's great. And then also, even if you don't care about resin at all, just if you were going to get this kit in resin versus plastic, I would always rather have it in plastic, just because it's so much crisper. There's no warping. You don't have to worry about heating parts up. You don't have to worry about cleaning them appropriately and making sure you get all of the, mold release agent off, or else you're halfway through your paint job and all of a sudden the paint starts chipping off. I mean, these things can just be a nightmare. Also, the resin is like super brittle. So for me, anything that comes over to plastic is phenomenal and a huge, huge upgrade. And then having all the kits for the weapons in here, you could easily swap these out or magnetize them. If not, same with the Sponson weapons as well. So really liking this kit. I think it looks great. The model looks awesome. Yeah, it definitely looks awesome. So this is definitely something that will probably make its way into my range eventually. I'm not a huge fan of most of the older school like Horus Heresy stuff. I like the new aesthetic of like Space Marines. So the old stuff looks good, but not as good in my opinion. And I think this probably falls somewhere around that line. Looks good, but not amazing. I think I would be more likely to take one of the OG Deimos pattern rhinos and just use that in my 40k army as opposed to the Predator, because I like the look of both. But the Rhino I may like better than like the classic or new style Rhino. But really cool overall. And again, very happy with all of these kits coming over into plastic. I think the Kratos is awesome. Didn't pick it up yet, but I'm just too busy and I know it's just going to sit around, so I'll get one eventually. The Sicaran is like my favorite Warhammer 40k tank of all time, so I'll have to get one of those when that comes out. And then obviously we see the Rhino also. We see the Predator. We see the Leviathan. We have the Spartan in the new Age of Darkness box set. And then of course we have the Dreadnought as well. So we're seeing pretty much that's all of the most popular, or just going down the checklist for the most popular, Warhammer 40k / 30k units sold by Forge World. Now I'm sure there's some like super heavies that are probably fall in that bracket, but I think probably these are like the most popular kits or most common kits that people buy. So I think the next big step I want to see is, and obviously very grateful for all these models looking great and awesome that they're coming to the regular line in plastic instead of Forge World, but I really want to see them branch out a little bit. Like I would love to see them bring like the Talimon for the Custodes and a couple other of like the Custodes Contemptor Dreadnoughts over to plastic as well. That would be a great step. I'd love to see them bring over some of like the AdMech stuff, maybe a chaos specific unit or something like that. I just want to see them really like expand onto what they bring over. Like it's great obviously to see all the Space Marine stuff coming over, but I think who needs it probably the most, or who's kind of missing out probably the most, is Mechanicus, because they have a ton of cool Forge World stuff and don't even have rules for it like in 40k, and there's really no reason they can't slap together some rules in my opinion. So I would really like to see them bring over some Mechanicus stuff. It would be awesome to see the Custodes stuff come over, and honestly, if it was up to me, everything from Forge World would just come to plastic eventually. I mean, think about how many plastic Thunderhawk gunships they would sell or whatever. Now I know it's probably gets a little difficult with the sizing eventually, but anybody that's bought anything big from Forge World before knows that the bigger the panel or the bigger the project, the more prep work there is. So any improvements into plastic is honestly going to be exponentially better. So but that's it for today's video. I just wanted to take a look at this. Again, I kind of glossed over the Predator, and I really like this tank. It's awesome. I like the side sponsons. It's super cool chassis to be built on top of, and somehow just kind of fell through the cracks. Probably was a bunch of other stuff going on when this was revealed, so we didn't get a video out on it, but just want to throw this one in the backlog. So if you enjoyed today's video, if you're into Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, or some Horus Heresy, you like the daily videos, reactions, reviews, and news, or you haven't checked out the playlist, painting, modeling, conversion, magnetation, tutorials, highly recommend you take a look at those. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out the channel. Almost at 5,000 subscribers, so make sure that you get in before 5,000. But that is it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I am Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.